All right, thanks for staying with us on TVC Breakfast this beautiful Monday morning. It's time to take a look at the headlines. Of course, we're being joined by leadership and communication strategist, Dotun Ojon. Good morning.
Good morning.
And I hope you had a great weekend.
Very well.
And the hangover from the Salah is all cleared and we're ready to go.
No hangover, really.
No hangover. All right. Let's begin with the Daily Trust. Federal projects, Senate's approval of 488.7 billion naira for states raises dust. Of course, controversies have continued to trail the approval of that amount of money for state, governments that actually went ahead to fix federal roads.
Yes, federal roads. Before this administration started completing some of these projects, you discover that what we've had over time is abandoned federal project across the road. And most of the time, because Nigeria is very complex, when these roads are bad, the federal government cannot see it and they cannot fix it. True. So they have to rely on the assistance of the state government, because if you come to think about it, it's the citizen majorly of the state that are actually applying this road. So over time, it's not a new practice. At least since I can remember, since 2001, this has been the operation where state government will fix road.
Especially Lagos State,
yes,
remember?
And they go back to the federal government. Yeah. But again, it got to a point that the federal government started playing politics with it, that they will not get to release the money except...
Especially if states are not aligned to the center.
Except you belong to their own political party. So I do not see anything wrong if the state government has actually done the project on behalf of the federal government to save the situation, then paying them back should not be an issue.
All right, well, 21 states are expecting this amount of money. What else do we have here? Buhari, national interest supersedes individual rights. Of course, he was speaking to lawyers at the annual conference there in Abuja yesterday. Yeah, good advice. Or is he preaching to the choir?
You see, individual right is a great component of national security. At every point in time, if you violate the right of people, you are actually undermining national security. So until we see it from this perspective, we may not be able to appreciate, because from another angle, you may continue to ask yourself the question as to, are judges, for example, not part of those people that are supposed to secure the nation?
Yeah, that we do get that point, but he said that the rule of law should be subservient, if I can use that word, to the national interest.
Of course.
The national interest should come first.
National interest should come first, but I'm telling you that individual right is also a component of national interest. So we should not, because of national interest, at every point in time, we throw away
rule of law.
But then, of course, it's been established that the highest court of the land, that national interest is more important.
All right, and why 16.6 billion naira power projects failed to improve grid? All right, let's just leave it.
Okay, we'll go to the next paper now, the New Telegraph. The major story, 2019, APC plots takeover of Southeast, South-South with multiple riders. Party defections, infrastructural development will boost Buhari's chances. PDP, we are not disturbed. McCarthy, we can defeat president. Anxiety as National Assembly meets over 189 billion naira election budget. And of course, it's a given, really, for any political party to want to, spread its base.
Yes.
That's what the APC is.
I think APC is actually doing what I never expected it would do, and that's actually going into the Southeast and the South-South. And either we like it or not, they are gaining popularity beyond my expectation as an analyst. I never knew that it's going to get to a point where we will have a former Senate minority leader and Akpabio defect from PDP to APC. So these are big achievements for them. But
what do you think is playing out? That the Southeast is now beginning to understand how to play politics?
No,
is that what's the local government chairman election in Imo State?
Yeah.
APC cleared.
Yes, they've always known. You don't judge the strength of any political party with the organization of local election. Okay. Because at the end of the day, it's the man that we appoint everybody and they stay somewhere. I'm not talking about Imo, but the practice that they stay somewhere and declare everybody winner, and they can be magnanimous in some cases. In some cases, and just give one to one party that is not relevant. That's what they did in one of these cases. So I was still talking about that APC story. Then again, there's the need for them to continue to advertise their achievement and not lies. You understand? Because when you hear on social media sometimes that, from some of their supporters that they have completed the third, what's it called, the second Niger bridge. They've done this and that. No. Advertise the real project. They've done a lot, especially when it comes to infrastructural development. So advertise, and if this can convince the people, let them willingly join your party. Yeah. And the second this thing that APC is playing is the issue of returning power to the southeast. Though they have not come out to say it officially, but they've been advertising that. And
so you say that the national chairman of the party is doing a lot of things rightly. Moving on, under the paper, Lagos PDP chairman set to defect to APC, party executives to dump party. APC, we will welcome Salvador. Many would say that for a party that has been struggling for many years, that has never ruled the state, and this could even deal further blow to it.
They are giving up. It's not looking as if APC will rule Lagos in a very short
APC
time.
Or PDP?
PDP, sorry. It's not looking as if PDP will rule Lagos in the shortest time to come. At least the way calculation and what we can see, in all honesty, is looking as if APC will still win as we speak now. So
in another 60 years?
In another years. Maybe in another 4 years. I don't know what will happen after 4 years.
All right. Come in the prophet. All right. But Buhari to lawyers, national security superior to rule of law. Abductors collect 500,000 naira, free slaying Kaduna pastor's wife. 2019, if I don't get Cuba tickets, APC should forget Oyo. That's communications minister talking there.
And now to the Nation newspaper. CBN's 9% credit policy excites farmers, but of course they're saying to the CBN, you'll have to ensure that this is actually implemented. Okay, single-digit interest rate for agriculture.
Yes, the problem is not just implementation. The problem is getting it to the right people, which has always been the concern. Because what politicians do is that once they identify an opportunity to get money, they suddenly become a farmer. If it's farming, they become farmer. So I do not want a situation where the money or the monies will get into the hand of people that are not real farmers. I want farmers from my village to benefit. I want farmers, the real people. Yeah. So apart from
not political farmers,
not political farmers, apart from, because when you even look at, there was this association I belong to, a cassava grower, something. I looked at the majority of people there. Then, before I pulled out, I discovered that none of these people had farm. And at that point, I had cassava farm. Wow. So the composition of the association is also an issue. So if you are driving this loan through association, you need also to open your eyes to ensure that it gets to the right people. Okay,
at the top, of course, over the masthead there of the Nation, Ajimobi to rebuild Ayefele's music house.
Okay, I don't want to judge a book by the cover, because if you look at the story, after the partial demolition, there are about 2 or 3 facts that must be made bare. The first one is that there were some mistakes on the part of the builders. They had an approval, but what they built is different from what they had on the approval. Okay. And I think that should be made clear. But again, we should do the right thing without being afraid of whosoever is involved.
All right,
but now the question, if they are going to rebuild the house, let it just be the personal money of the government.
And not the state. Yes, it shouldn't be at the expense of the state.
Supporting in any way.
All right. Rivers government kicks as EFCC probes 117 billion naira transactions. Okay, bank chief detained over 5.2 billion naira charges, and state government alleges political witch hunt. That's coming from Rivers.
Right. Rivers.
Very briefly.
Yes, EFCC should know that most of the time they don't need to come to pages of newspaper to get the stories across. If you are investigating,
go ahead and
investigate.
Okay. All right, we go to the Daily Sun. The major story: 2019 presidency, Saraki Tambuwal plots strategy. Money won't determine PDP presidential candidate. Mokafi talking there. Of course, we know that the PDP has set its primary election for the early part of October. So that is
if you look at what played out in 2015 within the APC, money did not really determine who. There were a lot of exchanges here and there, but to a certain degree, you can tell that money did not determine who won the primary, the presidential primary. There were monies, because we all knew the highest bidder. You may not know. I knew the highest bidder. I knew the man who was practically carrying bags of money.
Really?
But in the case of PDP in 2019, if they are not careful, money will determine, because they've been out of government. And many of them are broke. So they need money. Many of the professional politicians in PDP are very broke. So they need money now.
But McAfee is assuring that won't happen. So let's wait and see. Okay, so we go to the right top of the paper. Soldiers in trouble over Maiduguri airport rebellion to face court-martial for mutiny. The story here is that regardless of what you're going through as a soldier, you should never ever come out, to protest.
Yes, that has been the code of conduct. But again, there's a way poverty will knock your head out. You will forget whatever code of conduct, especially when you are risking your own life and you are not seeing a reason to die for the country.
Is there an English way of saying knock your head?
I don't know.
Okay.
All right. Obiano to join APC after tenure, says Ngige. Governor is APGA, going nowhere. Commissioner replying there. We won't sacrifice national security for rule of law, Buhari tells lawyers. And Nigerians in China upbeat about president's visit.
All right, and to the Vanguard now. That's my last paper. 2019 APC power blocks in supremacy battle. Party stalwarts in struggle over use of direct and indirect primary election. Which should it be? Lagos or Abuja as choice of a venue at issue? Okay. Some actually believe that direct primaries would be to their own advantage, while others are not too pleased with that.
You know, I was in my village for the Salah break, and that was the reason why I wasn't here on Monday. And it was very, very clear in Ondo State that there's a tug of war between the senator and the governor. The senator wants an indirect primary, and the governor is saying, no, we want the other. We want it to go the other way around. So that has been the major concern. Everybody is actually looking at areas that will please them. And that is going to be it's not going to be as easy as we are reading it from the newspaper. It's really going to be a very big rough fight. And at the end of the day...
Including even in Lagos? Do you think
Of course, it will happen in Lagos. It will happen in Lagos. Okay. The only privilege we have in Lagos is that maybe the leadership of the party, to a certain extent now, agrees with the national leader of the party. But that has not taken away some major factors, including the factor of people, I don't want to mention them, who actually fought hard to have the soul of the party during their last, what they call it,
but don't you think that is what direct primary is going to address, giving power to the members of the party to, to choose their own?
With those people who are holding on to power, allow power to get to the members of the party.
Very good point. All right, Buhari tackles judiciary, insists rule of law must be subject to national interest. Insurgency, NAF seeks quick delivery of A-29 Super Tucano aircraft. That's the Nigerian Air Force there. And anxiety as Cameroonian refugees flood Taraba communities. We fear invasion by attackers, says the village head. And of course, Red Cross Refugees Commission abandoned us. And that's according to the local government boss there. IGP establishes and deploys railway police marshal. So many stories here begging for attention.
Yeah, you know the Cameroonian stories. It's actually a sad one, and at every point in time, I am beginning to regret on their behalf that when they had the opportunity to join Nigeria before independence, that's about, I think, 1958, in London, when they pull out of that agreement in those times. Though I'm not saying that their life would have been better if they had remained in Nigeria, but to a certain extent, those guys are not being treated as part of the nation, and it's quite sad.
All right, we'll leave it there.
Okay, so we go to the last paper, but not the least, The Punch. Major story here is Wike locks horns with EFCC over fresh probe into Rivers' finances. Anti-graft agency alleges 117 billion naira curious withdrawals by state government. No Rivers official will appear before EFCC, governor vows. Let's leave that. Let's go again to other stories now. Buhari says rule of law must be subject to national interest. Beside it, primaries. APC meets Tuesday, Thursday, challenges stall membership registration. And then cocoa processors grown under 50 billion naira debt, huge losses. And then the monarchical crisis still ongoing in Ibadan, your state. New Ibadan monarchs absent from Olubadan's birthday reception. Lagos opens third mainland bridge after maintenance test.
Lagosians will say hallelujah to that.
Indeed.
Hallelujah.
All right, coming down here, our fillers on the right. 2019, PDP delays nomination form sale.
Yeah.
Aha. McAfee just assured us in another paper that money wouldn't play any role in determining the candidate. But then, why would you delay?
It's part of political strategy because they want to look at the duration of APC movement before they actually hit it on the head, and that may actually work for them. Either we like it or not, at this point in time, the major political parties are APC and PDP, and to a certain extent,
what about the ADC?
That ADC, they are not major yet. Okay. Anything can happen between now and 2019. But for you to call it this a major political party, you and I know that.
We're still waiting for that party that will actually be the third force.
The third force. We may not get, eventually we may not have to, we may not get to that point, because at the end of the day, if everybody, all the political parties merge into one strong listing, then they will not be
talking about COP, CPP.
Yes, COP.
All right.
Okay.
Mother sells 6-week-old baby, buys phone with proceeds.
I hope it's just iPhone, Sha.
Oh my gosh! Did you say
it's
that?
really sad.
Did you really say that?
It's really sad that now we are conquering the poverty of the pocket, but we may not be able to conquer the poverty of the mind because we need strong education to do that. Unfortunately, our population is growing by the day, and the number of institutions we have been destroyed.
Well, speaking of education, we're going to be treating that. There's a looming ASU strike as it concerns Lautech. We'll be talking about that when we're done with the paper review, and that's it really. Dr. John, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be keeping you, and we'll be joined by another guest who will look at the Lautech. Yes, there's looming strike in Oyo and Osun State by members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities.
Well, the union is threatening an indefinite strike over government's failure to address issues of underfunding bedeviling the Ladoke Akintola University of Technology. Students will be at the receiving end, and if they act to their threat, that will be after this break. Stay with us.